Hi! Welcome to Kintone Standard Function tutorial. Today we will talk about how to set up Kintone Workflow. Let's get started. In Kintone, you can customize and create a workflow for each app. One of the most common examples of this is the approval workflow, where you can submit documents for approval in Kintone. For example, you can see we have a workflow section in the Kintone record. Here, we can submit the record for approval, and the approver will get a notification for it. After submission, only the approver can change the status. Next, let's see the UI. Now, let me explain about the Workflow UI. We have three main components in the Workflow UI: Status, Assignee, and Action button. The status means the current status of the record. The assignee means the assigned person. The Action button is only available to the assignee. After clicking this button, it will show Next Status and the assignee for Next Status. Next, let's see the settings. Now, let's talk about the settings of the workflow. First, go to the app settings of the app you want to create workflow for, and choose Process Management for the workflow settings. We have three sections here: Features Settings, Status Settings, and Workflow Settings. The Features Settings is just a checkbox to enable workflow in this particular app. The Status Settings let you add the status you need. You can customize your status here. The Workflow Settings define each status, assignee, conditions, and next status. Let's talk about the details of these settings. The feature settings and the status settings are quite straightforward, so let's see the process flow settings. In process flow settings, each row defines each status. We can set the assignee, the conditions, the next status, and action button for each row. For example, let's check the settings for the status in progress. Here, you can select the assignee for this status. It can be a field in the app, a specific person, or anyone selected by users. Next, let's check out the condition setting in the middle of the row. As you can see here, we can set a specific condition, the label of the action button, and the next status after taking the action. Let's see the example here. If the grand total is less than 5,000, the person in charge can approve right away by clicking the action button, Proceed to approve. However, if the grand total is more than 5,000, the person in charge can only submit it to the CEO for approval. This is just one of the use cases of the condition. If there isn't any condition that we want to specify, we can just put all records for every status, which means that all records will go through the same workflow. Lastly, a little explanation of the setting on the right-hand side. The action button is the name of the button we will click before proceeding to the next status. It can be anything you want. This is just a label for user to click to proceed to the next status. Status after action taken is the next status after clicking the action button. We will have to define the settings of the next status in new row. However, if the next status is a final status, we don't have to define it. This is the end of the tutorial. Thank you for your interest in Kintone. That's all for the explanation of the process management setting. Feel free to contact us or our partners for further details.